Welcome to not the Peak Podcast, but the Gambling Podcast. Just for notice, we're not using our real monies. We're playing the game Gambling with Friends with me, as in Kai. And then we're with Sean Upal. And we have a
Hi.
special guest, Ilian.
Hello, everybody.
Today we're going to be talking about Asian stereotype. Asian stereotypes.
That's me.
Today we're going to be talking about Asian stereotypes, where they come from, where they're located in, how they came about, and the effects they have. So, Sean and Ilian, do you guys experience racial stereotypes? Like, because you guys are non-Canadian, right? So, like, do you, like, experience, like, these being here full of kind of, like, white people?
I'll start off. So I actually experienced a lot of racism for being stinky and stuff, and people call us bad drivers and uncivil. There's a lot of things that people say to me.
Like, those, like,
What
$1
about you?
head massage?
Yeah, that too. And then what about you, Ilian?
Well, I've experienced racism throughout my life. From the beginning, mostly people would mistake me for different type of Asians and just classify us as one Asian, right?
Yeah.
Dog eater, just anything that has like malice towards it. I've been called that. Chink. There you go. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I
Oh,
had-
street food. I forgot that.
Bro, interrupting another man while he's talking, I see.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So yeah, guys, you're talking about like how you guys are impacted by racial stereotypes, correct? Like this one, I've heard a lot, and like for example, when a new Asian student, like if they come from like Vietnam or Japan or somewhere like that, like the whole class would be like, "Oh, I need him for my math." Like I know for like Tommy, what's his name? Tommy T, right? Like he's known as like the calculator in the school because he's so good at math. Like so that's a big Asian stereotype of being like super smart, like really good at math, hardworking, not talking a lot, and like they're always successful. Like, and I was doing a bit more research on this topic, and like it came popular in the 1960s. But like it's kind of like it's like maybe people were thinking like, oh, it's nice to them. I'm calling them like smart, right? But it's more harmful to them because like it ignores the actual like problems, like because they're still human, right? They have mental health, they have, some people are poverty, and it's like a pressure to be perfect. Like if you're getting called that super smart, it puts so much pressure on you because you need to be super smart or else people will call you like a dumb calculator or like something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Asian women are stereotyped as submissive, quiet, kind of exotic, and they're really over sexualized. So you see this online a lot. There's a lot of incel culture, and what they do is they kind of, what's the word for it? They kind of fiend over them, and they just really want Asian women because they're, again, stereotypically they're submissive, quiet, exotic, whatever. These ideas, they kind of came from a mix of things. It was colonialism, wars, and Hollywood kind of portraying them in these stereotypes. So, like, have you seen this in any movies before? Where their Asian mom is kind of quiet or whatever?
I actually know a bit of where it came kind of from too. Like I've heard like, cause like back when you're saying colonialism, like when the English were doing trade routes to Japan, like they treated their women really horribly, right? They were just meant to like pleasure the man. So when the traders would come in, they would make the women pleasure their man. So they always just thought of them like, oh, they were really quiet and they were just super submissive. So like they kind of just thought of them as like, as nowadays, I don't know if this is a bad term, but hookers.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
So kind of carried on.
Anyways, yeah, what this can lead to is just harassment of these people and just disrespect overall. It's really not good.
No. How do we get more money back?
I don't even know. How do you get money?
Yeah.
Wait, can we steal?
No.
What is it, 16? What is 17?
Dude, if we would have literally done nothing.
pushed in onto social media, basically. And these ideas came from racist media and old laws. In the 1800s and early 1900s, a
Boom,
lot of
boom.
Asian men came to North America as workers, and these. But the problem was, in North America, these there were laws that often blocked them from bringing wives or marrying white women. Like the Page Act restricted Chinese women from migrating, and anti-interracial marriage laws banned many Asian men from marrying white women. And as well as going closer to the modern age, media also made Asian men look strange, threatening, or unromantic instead of showing them as normal romantic leads. As like, let's look at Dexter, for example.
Like
That one
the
Asian
movie?
guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Asian guy.
no, yeah, the Asian guy.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's unromantic.
Oh, Masuka.
He's yeah, Masuka. He's portrayed as very perverted and stuff, and that again contributes to um total stereotypes for Asian men because I think we all know like they're kind of like perverted as well, right? But the problem with all like with the with stereotypes is that this can affect confidence, dating, the self-image of Asian men, and leadership opportunities,
Yeah.
especially for people who come to America from third world countries. So that's a problem.
Yeah, like cuz like it's you're like looking at it's like taking the overall image of like other people. It's like judging a book by their cover quite literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Also with Chinese people, they're like I was talking about math geniuses, right? But like also like not only that of being super smart and that they're like a lot of people, especially in like America, because they have like not that good things with China. They like think of them as always like spies or like people that are always just trying to get into our business, right? Like I don't know if you guys remember that. What was it like that balloon incident? The weather balloon or something like that, and they all just thought it was like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Chinese
yeah, yeah.
spy tools all over America or stuff like that. And like people were freaking out and just blaming the Chinese all for it.
Hmm.
And they came from like Chinese workers came to North America, and like railroad work, especially in Canada when we had that the big railroad getting made, right? Got a lot of labor jobs for Chinese people and international people. Like we opened up a lot of work for people to come do it, so the actual white people in Canada didn't have to do that, right? White workers and politicians like accused them then of stealing jobs and lowering wages, uh, even though like they're doing the work that we didn't want to do anyways. So like people, the Chinese people were getting a lot of racism of being diseased, dangerous, and unable to fit into our society. Because I guess just because they come here, they ruin everything. Then this just like with all this, there was a law that came out of the Chinese Exclusion Act that made racism official. Later, as China became a powerful country, the like I was saying before, the U.S. just like um, they hate communism. China's communist, and they're getting stronger. And the U.S. doesn't like when other people are stronger. And we're pretty much part of the U.S. Well, maybe not as much anymore, but before we were very close to them. So like we all would think that Chinese people will be like spies because they're super loyal to China and they're like their master, right? As well with like that the COVID-19 with like because we were all just like, oh, they're eating rats and everything. So then they get these big
Yeah.
diseases, and then we all blame Chinese people for creating these pandemics that put the world into like a lockdown.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
So Japanese people are usually stereotyped as being tech obsessed, anime obsessed, disloyal, horny, and perverted. So the stereotype usually is that and this has happened, but it's not like a norm. Not like every Japanese person is like this. So what happens in Japan sometimes is girls would be like groped on trains, or there are sex hotels, and they're, they're stereotyped for being really horny and perverted. So sometimes on trains, yes, people will be groped. Guys usually grope girls, And another stereotype is that their genitalia is really small. So this goes for all Eastern Asian people. Usually, what will have they're usually stereotyped for having small genitalia. As for the horny and perverted section, they do have sex hotels, and they do make a lot of interesting cartoons. But you can't really judge an entire race by an outlier, and this really comes from before World War II, where Japanese people were kind of alienated from society because they were they were enemies with the USA, with the Canada, with the West. So they were enemies. And when immigrants came over to Canada and the U.S., many of them were forced into internment camps, as we all know. And this kind of enemy-like judgment of them has stayed throughout like 100 years and is still prominent today. Even now, when Japan's famous for cars, electronics, and cool technology, they're still alienated, and is due to them being enemies of the West, what, 75, 80 years ago.
But yeah, like, anyways, like you were saying with all those stereotypes, and I bet this like impacts them because like when you go think of a Japanese person, you might be uncomfortable, especially if you're a lady and you're going to Japan. If you hear all those stereotypes about people getting groped, I bet you're scared to be there, right? Because you're afraid you're gonna go get sexually harassed and assaulted by people. But that might not always be the case, but that would always be in some people's mind to that stereotype, right? As well as like about the World War II, you're always gonna have the like people saying kamikazes because that's like a really known term of what they that was a really big thing and people didn't really understand it all, but to the Japanese that was like totally normal for them, right? Now like their culture is getting seen as like it's not just like a some in a history lesson, like people are using it as like an insult in racist terms now, right? Yeah, and like
Mm,
yeah, some more
yeah.
stereotypes. Next up we got Korean people. Korean people are stereotyped as like super strict, competitive, business focused, and beauty, K-pop, and all that stuff. Like, and I'm sure when you hear like the K-pop Demon Hunters are going on really big right now, right? And I bet like
Yeah.
if you think of K-pop, it's K is in Korean, right? As you see on TikTok, you see these like funny comedic videos, which are people are playing into the stereotypes. It's like you know, be doctor, me beat you. You're not good enough. You go home. I'm not you. You're not my son, right? Like it's stuff like that, and that's like it's based off like the Korean person. What's the guy's name? Is it like Steven? That guy? Like it's like Asian. The
Oh,
Asian mode of games, and you just die off everything, like not good enough, all that stuff, right? So they have like a
Yeah,
lot of
Stephen D.
pressure on them. And this like originated, because like Korean came to North America and they opened like a lot of businesses and grocery stores and dry cleaners, and like they were like pushing, and then like Canadians and Americans were like, why are you better than me? And then they just started hating on them, right?
so for South Asians, especially Indians, uh, are they're all mocked for being smelly or like smelling like curry or being stinky or whatever. So this actually comes from British colonial racism. What they did was they described Indian food, clothes, homes, and just bodies, just all of India as dirty and uncivilized because they wanted to make the British culture feel superior than Indians. So spices like curry, cumin, turmeric, and garlic, they're all treated as like bad smells instead of normal
Yeah,
food smells. Later in Western schools, South Asian kids like Bangladeshis, Indians, Pakistanis, uh, they were all being bullied for bringing their culture of food in their lunches. So I have not personally experienced this because this is a kind of a new generation, but this is really prominent. Maybe one generation or two generations ago, I remember I was talking to my uncle. He was born here, and he was talking about how he was being like bullied and like made fun of for bringing our own food, which is considered stinky.
yeah. Well, like
And yeah,
I brought a Indian cuisine. I actually don't remember what it was to school. And then every like all the kids here actually were just like, oh, is that butter chicken? And then there's like, oh, stinky, and they're like making
Yeah,
like
yeah.
those racial stereotypes. And I'm white, right? As white as you can get. But I was just having Indian food in my lunch, and then those stereotypes are already coming out.
Exactly. And yeah, that's just a way to show that the smell of the food was used to make Indian people seem foreign or gross. So this actually can make people really embarrassed about their food, clothes, just their culture overall. And some people may try to hide their lunches or avoid talking about their like background, like where they come from, because they're ashamed of talking about it, because people make fun of
Yeah.
them. Yo, I just had two voice cracks in the same sentence. That was bad.
Damn.
All right. Anyways,
See.
do you want me to go to terrorist? We should get Saib in here. Wait,
Iab isn't here today, Sean.
where is he?
He's. What do you mean? Where is he? You know where he is. You're the only one.
Where is he? Okay, I'm sure you guys heard of 9/11, right? Like, have you not heard of 9/11? Okay, like when you think of 9/11, like what type of people like you think of? Like you think of the people that are wearing those checkered things on their head from like Arabians, probably people
Those
from
Arabic things that
Arabic.
like the turbans.
Yeah, the turbans. So like when you see them,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're a terrorist. Are you holding a bomb? Right? Because like, all you see in like the
Yeah.
news is like people that are doing that, and like 9/11 was really highly broadcast as terrorism from them. And like if you hear a terrorist attack, especially around the time frame that 9/11 happened, it's just unspread. So every time you hear a terrorist attack, it's like, oh, must have been Arabic or whatever, right? I'm really bad at pronouncing it, but so
Arabic.
and like so that originated from around the 9/11 time when what's the guy's name, Osama bin Laden, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The big
Yeah,
old
yeah.
terrorists, like, and they were against the U.S. and so like that made the big bad rap for the terrorists or like stuff going
The
on
Arabs.
then. The Arabs,
All Arabs
the
in
Arabs,
general.
the Arabs in general being terrorists and carrying bombs with them everywhere they went. This like led to like impacts of if you're in an airport, right? Some people are, if you're on a same plane with one of them, some people are so racist and scared that they have a bomb on them that they'll like speak to the flight attendants to like get this man away or make sure to watch him. And even like airport
Yeah.
security, some will go to the extent to like really do a full body search just because they're wearing their culture, like a turban or stuff like that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so like it gets them to be profiled, and like it's a whole messed up, right? Like, and that will never really, I can't see that going down anytime soon, sadly, either. Arabs were dehumanized and presented as the bad guys. That was a quote by, I'm not trying to sound rude pronouncing this guy's name, but Seaman, and in paragraph 17. So that really kind of goes to show that like every time you're at an airport, let's say you're an Arab at an airport and you're getting profiled down just because you're Arab and you're like getting searched for like bombs and you being a terrorist, right? That's just dehumanizing. It just shows that you're not as like innocent as a normal white guy, right? Even though I'm sure there's just as bad white people, if not worse. We got Epstein here now.
Yeah.
Alright.
He's been here.
All right. So oil sheik. These Arabs were portrayed as greedy oil tycoons, corrupt princes, or rich villains. As we all know, they're closely indicated to be in the middle, where oil was abundant at that time. And as this was started because of a quote from Seaman 18, Arabs were portrayed as lacking democracy, unity, and modernity. This stereotype became stronger during the 1970s because oil producing countries gained more power, and so that Western countries worried about oil prices. And of course, propaganda made its work, and that's how this stereotype came to be. Movies and TV turned this fear into characters who were rich Arab princes, greedy oil sheiks, corrupt villains. Really, this amount of propaganda made Arab societies seem like they were only about oil, money, and power. And uh, as we all know, that's not all true, of course. Um, and this impact, Arab, as I said, made Arab societies made were only about oil, money, and power. And but like the problem is that there's a lot more to them than just that. There's the people, the culture, and the diversity throughout as um, they're Arab.
So South Asians are usually stereotyped as call center workers, coders, or just like tech support workers with really funny accents. So you see a lot of people nowadays, they're making fun of the Indian accent. I know today, even today, I just got made fun of for the Indian accent. I don't have one, but people still will make fun of it because I'm Indian. And yeah, it's just really prominent nowadays. So this actually comes from the 1990s and 2000s, where many Western companies usually outsourced customer service. So they got it from guess where? India. Why? Because labor was cheaper. So as Americans and Canadians, people in the West, they heard Indian accent through tech support calls. Shows started using it because people started to normalize the kind of funniness that people see in Indian accents, and they turned these people into this stereotype about all South Asians. So now people are called scammers, IT workers, just from a couple of incidents that happened.
All right, Filipino, my people. The entire point I'm in this podcast. So stereotypes can is a wide variety in Asia, but for Filipino people specifically, we're known as more of like nurses, caregivers, domestic workers, like happy. We're it's not that's not really a bad thing, but just saying, and musical and religious. I'm saying that people from the Western think that we're just like a carbon copy of each other. That's the problem here. This came from U.S. colonialism in the Philippines. So, as we all know, the U.S. took control of the Philippines in 1898. You probably don't know the exact date, but because of the American-style education that we adopted, the nursing programs were set up, and this helped create a path for Filipino nurses to work in the United States. This meant most, I would say, around 50 to 60% of Asian parent had one had a parent working overseas as a caregiver, which also increased the amount of what do you call it, stereotype propaganda and all of the social media that we all know about Filipinos. And many Filipinos also migrated into care work, domestic work, and healthcare because those jobs were the most available at the time, and it just kept on progressing from there. And over time, people turned this real history into a stereotype that Filipinos are naturally nurses or caregivers. This meant that even if a Filipino goes through a job or college, they'll always be known for wanting to go to nursing, caregiving, doctor, even if they've worked hard to get their degree, people will still assume that you guys are nurses, caregivers. That's a problem, right? And I can feel this considering how many times I have been told that, oh, you're not going into nursing? Oh, you're not going into nursing? Not even by, like, sure, that happens with, like, white people as well, but that also happens with Filipinos. I feel like we have lost our meaning, and we're not just nursing. We can go higher. We've lost the plot, and that's the problem. The stress, exploitation, burnout, is ignored while we're working, and we're ignored to be people of caregiving, nursing, anything through and through around that.
Stop AAPI hate. What it is a hate tracks hate incidents against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. It operates the world's largest reporting center and tracks of acts of hate, so racism towards these people. It matters because during COVID, many Asians were blamed for the virus. Like I said, with the Chinese people, they're harassed and attacked physically too, and a lot of racist statements like "go back to where you came from." that's sped to a lot of people, but especially around the COVID times, that was a big thing, telling the people to go back to where they came from and to stop spreading their diseases. It's another group called SAALT. What it is, it stands for South Asian Americans Leading Together. It matters because it diminishes.
Wait, stop. Okay, so just literally skim through it and then get quick to the conclusion, but always do the quotes. You wanna always do the quotes. Okay, I'll mute now.
South. South Asian Americans Leading Together. What it does, it is diminishing outdated and harmful stereotypes. That's a quote by Pale Mao. That's right, Pale Mao. In conclusion, Asian stereotypes they might seem like jokes to you and your friends, or if you're trying to meet someone you think it's funny to them, but it's maybe one of the 10 times it might be funny, but in the end it's not worth it because it could hurt people, right? It can just categorize people. It doesn't make them seem much human. Like, I'm sure, like, if you guys get stereotyped, like, I don't think you guys necessarily like it, do you?
No, of course not. And like,
why?
and it kind of like dehumanizes people, like you said before. It alienates people. It kind of makes a lot of separation in our society today.
Yeah, no, that's spitting out facts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they also, like, they put pressure on Asians to act a certain way. Like, the stereotypes kind of, like you were saying, limits you guys. So, like, you guys are kind of like subconsciously like pressured to be the way. So, like, Koreans being super successful doctors or stuff like that, right? Or Indians to always have their butter chicken or stuff like that, right? Or work at Tim's. I don't really know.
Dude.
Fast food workers, yeah.
Yeah, or like it also could limit to people by staying in the fast food workers, right? It's like a lot of immigrants are feeling that they must be in those fast food because they're not worth more, right? Some stereotypes come from most stereotypes come from histories like old racist laws that colonialism put on people. The stereotypes lead to bullying and not just funny jokes anymore, and harassment and just people getting treated unfairly. Overall, it's important to understand where the stereotypes come from so people can stop using stereotypes to describe people and actually see people as people rather than these racial stereotypes. In all, they might seem like jokes, but they're more deeper than that. Just use a normal joke, not a racist thing. Guys?
Okay.
All right, guys. Peak podcast out.